rise. The Superior Court of Madison County is now in session. The Honorable Judge Mann presiding.
You can be seated.
Guys,
Good morning. Are the parties ready to proceed? All right, you can begin.
Your Honor, may it please this court and the ladies and gentlemen of the jury, my name is Emily Drown, and this is my co-counsel, Will McCrary. All plaintiff witnesses include my client, Sam Parker, Terry Benjamin, and Tybee Cumberland. The issue in this case today concerns a distracted, reckless driver who, while swerving on wet roads at night, blindsided my client, a responsible young woman returning briefly to her job before riding home. Evidence proves that not only was the defendant driving recklessly on a rain-slicked road, but she was talking on the phone while returning from a late-night party. The evidence will show that the guilt is entirely upon the defendant's shoulders. Our first witness will be Sam Parker, my client. Parker, who was 17 years old at the time the accident occurred, is a responsible and hardworking girl who uses her expertise with bicycling to work at the Main Street Cafe. As she made her way back to her job to cash out and arrive home before her curfew, she was hit by the defendant, with no sign of headlights or other warnings. Parker will describe how she gained her job at the Main Street Cafe, as well as her experience with that job. Next, she will recount the events of the incident and how the defendant showed no helpfulness as Parker lay injured on the pavement. Terry Benjamin, a professional photographer, will be our second witness. Known as the paparazzi who has the power to make or break a person's career, Benjamin was in Abbeville on May 30th, 2005 to photograph the defendant, C.J. Calhoun. On the night of the incident, Benjamin was attempting to take photos of the defendant when the crash occurred. He will describe Calhoun's reckless speeding while swerving on wet roads, as well as her preoccupation while driving. Our third witness, resident of downtown Abbeville, Tybee Cumberland, was present at the time of the incident. On her way home from locking up the drugstore, of which she is manager, she inadvertently became a bystander near the collision. She will describe what she heard, as well as the post-accident events. Having sustained a concussion and lost wages from the incident, my client Sam Parker is suing the defendant upon grounds of negligence and the breach of duty. May it please the court that I expect the verdict delivered today to be guilty.
May it please the court, your honor, and ladies and gentlemen of the jury. My name is Olivia Clark, and these are my co-counsels, Annis Lindell, Mary Lyles Hooker, and Allison Melton. We are here today to tell you a little bit about the case that my client, C.J. Calhoun, was a part of. The plaintiff was delivering pizzas when she took a shortcut through the court square, rode out in front of the defendant, which is my client, C.J. Calhoun, and had a collision with her. The issue in the case today is that the defendant is being wrongly held responsible for the reckless actions of the plaintiff. Most all witnesses say that the plaintiff usually drives recklessly and endangers others in her wake. Terry Benjamin is a witness for the plaintiff's side and was chasing the defendant when the incident occurred. Jordan Rawls is a witness for the plaintiff's side, or the defense side, and was walking her dogs when she saw the collision. Madison Smith is a witness for the defense side and was picking up trash at the square when she heard the accident. The evidence will show that due to the plaintiff's disregard for bicycle safety, she caused the accident for both herself and the defendant. It is not my job to charge you with the law, that is the judge's, but I will say this. Article 27 on lamps and reflectors on a bicycle says that when it is night, the light on the front must always be on, and the reflectors must be clearly seen at all times. The plaintiff was not seen by the defendant, and Madison Smith says she can only see the plaintiff when her headlights hit the reflectors just right. The plaintiff blatantly disregarded the safety rules and removed the reflectors from her wheel spokes and replaced it with tape, blue reflective tape that was not made for wheel spokes. Her halogen light also on the front of her bike is rarely on, despite the rule of having it always on at night. The plaintiff was driving recklessly and endangering both the defendant and herself. My client should not be held responsible for that. I have faith that you just, fair citizens, will see the facts in their true light and return to us a vote of not guilty.
Prosecution, you call your first witness.
Please state your name for the court.
Sam Parker,
How old were you at the time of the accident, Sam Parker?
17 years old.
I'm sorry, 1 second. Please describe your job.
I deliver pizzas around town on my bicycle.
And what were your parents' 3 criteria that the Main Street Cafe had to meet in order for you to work there?
It had to be close enough to home, it couldn't require me to work past curfew, and it couldn't interfere with my academics.
And what time is your curfew?
11 p.m.
Can you please describe the accident in your own words?
I was hit by something hard and fast, and I didn't see any headlights, or I swear I would have seen it.
After the accident, did the defendant, C.J. Calhoun, approach you, showing any signs of helpfulness in your state of injury?
He was on his phone saying something like, "This is going to make me late," but otherwise no.
Thank you, Sam Parker.
Were you in a hurry to find a question?
Yes.
So you kept through the square just to prevent getting home past curfew.
I wanted to respect my parents' curfew.
Is your curfew worth your safety?
No.
Now, is it true you begged your boss for the delivery? It's true you begged the boss for this delivery, correct?
I had lost wages earlier in the day.
When you were hit, were you severely hurt?
Yes, I had a concussion and some major scrapes and bruises.
But you yourself said you've had worse spills in your other races, yes?
This is not in my witness statement.
From this concussion, did you or do you have any lasting brain damage?
I don't know.
Were you following the bike law?
No.
Have you ever gotten in trouble for disobeying these laws?
Not really.
Now, the reflector tape on the spokes of your wheels wasn't made for spokes, but you used it anyway.
It had trouble staying there, but yeah.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Understood. Financial.
I would like to call Terry Benjamin to the stand. Can you please state your name for the court?
Terry Benjamin.
What do you do for a living?
I'm a professional photographer.
What were you doing in Abbeville on May 30th, 2005?
I was trying to take pictures of the Carolina winner, C.J. Calhoun.
What were you doing before the accident?
I was looking for C.J.
Did you ever find her?
Yes.
Did you have trouble getting pictures of CJ?
Yes, I did.
What did you do in order to get CJ's attention?
I was flashing my lights and honking my horn, but she kept speeding away.
Well, can you describe CJ's driving beyond speeding?
It reminded me of the craziest New York cab drivers.
How far behind CJ's vehicle were you driving when you tried to get her attention?
I was several car lengths behind,
Why were you taking pictures of the accident?
because it's my job.
That would be all.
Did you relentlessly pound C.J. Calhoun the entire day of May 30th, 2005?
No.
Were you following C.J.?
Yes.
Do you think C.J. was going faster than usual because you were following her?
No.
Is it true that Sheriff Newton confiscated your memory card because you were tampering with the accident investigation?
Yes.
No further questions.
Very good witness.
I would like to call Tabby Cumberland to the stand.
You affirm that the evidence you try giving this trial, shall be true to hold in
Will you please state your name for the court?
Tabby Cumberland.
Where do you work?
I'm the manager of the downtown drugstore.
How long have you lived in Abbeville?
All my life, except for when I went to college.
What time did you lock up the drugstore on Memorial Day 2005?
It was about 10:30 that night.
Describe what the roads were like when you left work.
There were still some slick spots in the road from the rain earlier that day.
Did you see Madison Smith that night?
Yes,
What was she doing?
picking up trash in the square.
Are you familiar with Madison Smith's job?
Yes, I'm on the town council and we hired Madison to do odd jobs for the town.
Can you tell us about the truck Madison Smith uses?
Yes, the town council lets Madison use one of the city of Abbeville trucks to take trash to the dump.
Are there designated parking spaces on the square?
Yes.
Does Madison Smith park the truck in those spaces?
Actually, I've seen Madison park in the middle of the street, even if it's late at night. And we've warned her several times.
Did you see anyone else in the square that night before the accident?
Yes, I saw Jordan Laws and Sam Parker.
Describe what you saw and heard at the time of the accident.
I saw a flash of light and I heard a loud crash and screeching tires.
What made the loud crash?
A silver convertible ran into the town flagpole.
When you got to the scene, what did you see?
I saw Sam Parker sprawled out on the wet pavement.
What was Sam's condition when you saw her?
The poor child was laying on the ground, bleeding and complaining that her knee and elbow hurt.
Did you see the driver of the silver car?
Yes, it was CJ Calhoun.
What was CJ Calhoun doing when you saw her?
CJ was talking on the phone.
Were there any police officers at the scene?
Yes, Sheriff Newton was there.
Did Sheriff Newton call an ambulance for Sam?
Yes.
Did Sheriff Newton get anything from CJ at the scene?
It appeared Sheriff Newton was getting an autograph from CJ Calhoun.
Did you hear any of the conversation between Sheriff Newton and Madison Smith?
Sheriff Newton told Madison to go home and sleep off the liquor.
Was there anyone at the scene who was unfamiliar to you?
Yes, there was someone there taking pictures who I didn't recognize.
You said in your witness statement that you are quite sure that the silver car hit Sam's bicycle. Why did you say that?
I don't think the bike could have been as mangled as it was if it hadn't been run over by a car, and the car was totaled.
That would be all. Thank you.
How do you feel when you see Sam riding on the sidewalk in front of your store?
Will you repeat the question?
How do you feel when you see Sam Parker riding on the sidewalk in front of your store?
That information is beyond the scope of my statement of facts.
Okay. Is it true that Sam has almost run into you on multiple occasions?
Sam's come pretty close.
Does Sam follow the bike laws that are set to prevent biking on the sidewalks?
Sometimes.
Can you tell us about the damage done to CJ's car?
The front end was crushed.
Did Sam say anything to you at the accident?
I don't know.
Do you feel like Sam contributed to the accident by her known reckless law-breaking bike riding in Abbeville?
It's possible.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Any other witnesses from the prosecution? The prosecution is addressing defense. You call your first witness.
My first witness is Madison Smith. State your name for the record.
Madison Smith,
Where do you live?
Abbeville, South Carolina,
How long have you lived in Abbeville?
my entire life.
Do you have a job?
I'm retired, but I have a part-time job for the town.
What do you do?
I clean up Abbeville and keep it beautiful.
What do you see while cleaning up?
I see the delivery kids like Sam Parker from the Main Street Cafe taking stupid risks to make as much money as they can.
What risks does Sam Parker take?
She rides on the wrong side of the street and even on the sidewalk, which is dangerous to the public.
Where were you on the night of May 30th, 2005?
I was cleaning up the town square after the Memorial Day parade and concert.
What happened that night while you were cleaning up?
I looked up and I saw a silver BMW go by.
Did the car seem to be going fast?
No.
What else did you see?
There was a black Cadillac that seemed to be closing in on the BMW. The driver of the black Cadillac seemed to be shouting something out of his car window to the driver of the BMW.
What happened next?
Both of the cars swerved around my truck, and I heard screeching tires, and I saw the BMW hit the flagpole.
What did you do?
I dialed 911 on my cell phone and went to see if there was anything I could do to help.
And what did you see?
I saw Sam Parker lying on the ground beside her bike.
Could you tell what had happened?
Yes, I could see the tire marks from Sam's bike in the grass where she had cut across the square, going the wrong way into traffic.
Objection. Opinion testimony. That witness is not an expert.
What did you do? What did Sam Parker do?
After a while, she sat up and said in a normal voice that she was okay.
What did you do next?
I went to check on the driver of the BMW.
What was the condition of the car?
She was pretty banged up too. I had seen that the airbags had deployed in her BMW.
Did you know who the driver of the BMW was?
I didn't recognize her at first, but I realized that it was CJ Calhoun when Sheriff Newton arrived.
When did Sheriff Newton arrive?
A little after I checked on the driver.
Did Sheriff Newton talk to you at the accident?
Yes.
What did you tell him?
I told him about how Sam had cut me off earlier that day and did the same thing that night.
So you had seen Sam earlier that day?
Yes, I was taking trash to the dumpster in my truck when I had to slam on my brakes to keep from hitting Sam, who cut me off going the wrong way.
Is that the first time that had happened?
No, it's happened a lot of times.
Did Sam have any safety precautions on her bike?
She used to have reflectors on her wheel spokes, but she replaced it with cheap blue reflective tape, and I can only see it when my headlights hit them just right.
Your Honor, I would like to draw your attention to Exhibit 8, which is a family. As you can clearly see from this brochure, the reflector tape used by Sam Parker was not made to replace reflectors on the spokes, but to be added to the bike frame for extra protection. Have you seen Sam since the accident?
Yes.
Does she seem to be more safety conscious?
No.
No further questions, Your Honor. Good morning.
Good morning.
Does Sam have a light on the front of her bike?
Yes, but I rarely see it on.
Do you not park your truck in a designated parking space when picking up trash in the square at night, correct?
I try to, but sometimes it's inconvenient when I'm halfway across the square.
You said in your statement that it was because of last year you were given a citation for driving under the influence, correct?
Yes.
And this citation was issued while you were working?
Yes.
And yet the city council did not fire you for this offense, correct?
They believe me.
On the night of May 30th, did you park your truck in the street?
Yes.
And at the time of the accident, you were standing next to the bell, Big Bob, correct?
Yes.
Did you see a black Cadillac closing in on the back bumper of Miss Calhoun's silver BMW?
Yes.
And is it accurate that you saw the BMW and the black Cadillac swerve around your truck?
Yes.
And did you hear a collision after that?
I don't recall.
I would like to enter Exhibit 1 into evidence. You were by the bell on this map, correct?
Yes.
And yet the accident was by the picture of the bicycle, correct?
Yes.
So it is fair to say that you did not even see the accident occur?
I know what I saw.
But is it fair to say that Big Bob was blocking your view?
Yes.
Describe Sam's condition as you arrived at the scene of the accident.
She was lying on the ground next to her bike, which was kind of torn up.
Did it appear that she was badly hurt?
Yes.
She was bleeding, correct?
Yes.
In your witness statement, you said that she was badly banged up and that she looked like she needed medical attention. Is that correct?
Yes, I called 911.
Was the photographer taking pictures at the scene?
Yes.
Did you see if the airbags had deployed in the silver BMW?
Yes.
Was CJ Calhoun talking on the phone at the scene?
Yes.
What did you overhear CJ say on the phone before she hung up?
I do not recall.
Whose fault did you hear the sheriff say that he thought it was?
I don't remember.
Okay, that will be all. Thank you.
I would like to call Jordan Law to the witness stand. State your name for the record.
Jordan Ross.
Where do you live?
Abner.
Do you get out in the square often?
Yes, every day at 7:20 and then again at 2 o'clock.
What kinds of things do you see while walking through Dalton Square?
I see a lot of dangerous kids from the military cafe in their cars and on their bikes.
Does anyone stand out to you after you came to school?
Yes, Sam Parker.
Has Sam Parker ever caused you or someone else harm?
Yes, he's almost run over my dog Chiquita.
How did that happen?
He was driving through the square and wasn't paying attention and pulled Chiquita out the way.
Did he slow down?
No.
Were the actions of these cyclists ever brought to an authority?
Yes. They mentioned it in the town meeting that Sheriff Newton would enforce the sidewalk laws, but no one ever did.
Is it true that you considered running for town council?
Yes.
Why is that?
To enforce the sidewalk laws that are already in place for the safety of the citizens and kids.
Do you remember the day of May 30th, 2005?
Yes.
What was so significant about that day?
There had been a big concert.
Were you in the town square the night in question?
Yes.
What was happening?
I was walking my dogs and I saw Sam Parker whiz by Terry Benjamin. I was trying to come over.
Then what happened?
And I saw a gray BMW in hot pursuit.
Elaborate on hot pursuit.
It was being chased by a black Cadillac that went into the ground.
Did you continue to focus on the two cars?
Yes, I saw them swerve. Past a white truck that was parked in the middle of the street.
What happened next?
I heard screeching tires and a loud crash.
Did you hear only one crash?
No, I heard two.
What did you do next?
I started to walk forward to see what happened, but there was already a lot of people at the scene, so I stayed back.
What condition was the BMW in?
It was totaled.
Did any authority come at the scene?
Yes, Sheriff Mann.
What did the sheriff do?
He spoke to CJ and got her to sign some papers.
Did anything else stand out to you?
Sam was lying on the ground.
Have you seen Sam Parker? Does she seem to take any new safety precautions?
No.
No further questions.
Do you have a bias against Sam Parker?
Yes.
Okay. When you got to the scene, you saw Sam Parker's bike in pieces and things like that, correct?
Yes.
Did Sam Parker appear to be hurt?
Yeah.
Did you make any attempt to call for help for your child?
No, I saw that someone else had already called me on this.
That will be all.
I would like to call CJ Calhoun to the witness stand. State your name for the record.
CJ Calhoun.
How old are you?
I'm 18, but I was 17 at the time of the accident.
What is your job?
I'm a cop.
Describe your journey to fame.
Well, I got my big break when I was voted best singer on a television program. And then after that, the next few weeks were a blur. All these record labels wanted me to sign multi-album contracts. I was getting calls from magazines wanting to do interviews and photo shoots. Even major cola companies and stuff wanted me to be their spokesperson. It was really exciting. So So I finally decided to sign to Tone Deaf Records because they agreed that I could start my world tour in Abbeville, which is my hometown and where my friends and family live. So I was secretly booked to open the Memorial Festival. It was going to be a surprise for my closest fans.
I direct your attention to the night of May 30th, 2005. Could you tell me the events leading up to 10:20 p.m.?
Well, I performed, and then I was signing autographs for all of my fans, and then I left to go to a friend's house.
What happened at 10:30?
I left the friend's house to do an interview with a DJ on my way back to my hotel.
Was there anything out of the ordinary on your ride home?
Well, I was at a red light, and Terry Benjamin, one of the absolute worst of the paparazzi, pulled up beside me and rolled down the window and started yelling and honking the horn and taking pictures of me.
Did you take any precautions to focus more efficiently on the road?
Yes, I put the phone on speaker and set it down, and I wasn't talking into it anymore.
What happened next?
Well, I was taking some detours to try to lose Terry because I really didn't want him taking my picture because he's known to spread rumors that aren't true. And this was supposed to be some of my time away from the public eye. So I decided to go through the court square, and I just passed a truck that was parked in the middle of the road. And then out of nowhere, this bicycle just shot out in front of me without looking. And I saw it very briefly in my headlights, and I slammed on the brakes. And then in the process of trying to avoid the bicycle, I swerved away and ran into the flagpole. I don't even remember the flagpole being there.
Were you injured?
I was scraped and bruised, yes.
Were you going to responsibly call for help?
Yes, when I saw the person that was on the ground, I started to call 911, but then I saw that somebody had already done it.
Did authority arrive?
Yes, Sheriff Newton came.
What did Sheriff Newton do to help?
Well, he talked to everybody, and he had me sign some documents.
Was there anything distracting Sheriff Newton?
Terry Benjamin came up and started taking pictures of the accident.
What did Sheriff Newton do?
He took Terry's camera.
What happened to the cyclist?
Sam Parker was taken away in an ambulance.
Did you make any contact with Sam Parker after these events?
I felt horrible for what happened, and even though there's no way I could have prevented it because I had no idea the bike was going to shoot out in front of me. I had no idea where it was going to come from, but I still felt bad, and so I gave Sam Parker free tickets to my concert, front row.
Did Sam seem to be dealing with any injuries at the concert?
No, she seemed fine.
Did all seem at peace between you and Sam?
It did.
Were you surprised when she filed this lawsuit?
Yes, I thought that there was really nothing I could have done in the moment.
No further questions, Your Honor.
You called your concert a benefit concert, but really it was just benefiting you, correct?
Well, it was for all my closest fans that really wanted to see me.
But in your witness statement, it is called a good gimmick to start your world tour, correct?
Yes.
You testified that you went to see friends, but it was really a party, correct?
Well, it was a get-together, so we could all see each other. It had been a long time.
I'm sorry, did you say you were partying or getting together before or after you hit Sam Parker?
This was before.
What time did you leave the party?
I believe it was 10:30.
What time was your phone interview?
It was around that time. I left so I could do the phone interview.
So you were on the phone while you were driving back to your hotel, correct?
Yes.
Do you believe you received any favoritism in Abbeville since you won the Carolina Idol?
I don't know.
And yet your sister was marshal of the Memorial Day Parade on the day of the crash, correct?
Yes.
Are your father and the sheriff friends?
Yes, they are.
I'm sorry, but what was the sheriff's name?
Sheriff Newton.
In your witness statement, you call him Sheriff Norton. Is that correct?
Objection, Your Honor, irrelevant.
So it is fair to say that there are inaccuracies in your witness statement, correct?
The name must have just slipped in my mind. I'm sorry.
you say in your statement that Terry Benjamin is the worst of the paparazzi and that he tried to target you?
Yes.
So you were more concerned about not getting your picture taken by Terry Benjamin than safety on the roads, correct?
Well, he's known to ruin up-and-coming stars because of his pictures, so it was concerning to me.
I would like to enter Exhibit 2 into evidence. So we'll look at the top part of Exhibit 2. There were all these empty parking spaces around the square. They are filled here in this picture, but they were all empty on the night of the accident, as testified by many witnesses. So you could have pulled into one of these to finish your phone interview so you could be safer on the roads, correct?
Well, actually, I wasn't on the interview anymore. I had the phone down when Terry started chasing me.
Thank you. Wouldn't it have been more responsible to leave the party in time to do the interview in the hotel, or go to a quiet room at the party to do the interview there?
Well, I kind of lost track of time, I guess, and I just didn't see a problem with doing it on the way.
You said in your statement that on the phone interview, you were telling everyone what you were doing in your hometown, as they were all interested in what you were up to as you started your world tour. But you also said that this was supposed to be your getaway from the public. So which is it? A gimmick for the press to know all about, or a private rest from publicity?
Well, it was a performance for all of my friends and family, which aren't exactly the public, because I know them very well.
And yet you were trying to get away from Terry Benjamin, who was going to expose the pictures of you to the public, correct?
Well, I have nothing wrong with him posting good pictures, I just can't trust that they'll all be good.
Thank you, CJ Calhoun.
Any other witnesses? After your time around.
May it please the court, my name is Will McCrary. This case matters to me, to my client, and to you. The law was broken, and my client was the victim. Sam Parker deserves justice, just as we all do. On the night of the accident, she was simply out doing her job while respecting her parents' wishes and trying to keep her curfew. However, the defendant, CJ Calhoun, carelessly raced through town and blindsided Sam while she was simply trying to check out at work and make it home. Ladies and gentlemen, the defendant was reckless and unsafe, and she clearly broke statute number 56-5-1520, Article 11, which states that speeds must be controlled to avoid colliding with another person, vehicle, or other conveyance. Because of this, my client, Sam Parker, was injured both physically and mentally. As my client clearly testified, she is diligent and hardworking, always trying to respect her parents and keep her curfew. Terry Benjamin testified to the recklessness of the defendant. Although he was following her, and despite his attempts to gain her attention, she refused to slow down. You heard CJ say herself that she was more concerned about avoiding having her picture taken than safety on the roads. Not only that, but she was at a party before the accident, was on the phone while driving, and there are inaccuracies in her witness statement. Jordan Rawls testified that he saw brake lights and heard screeching tires before the collision, indicating that the defendant tried to slow down. However, CJ was not driving at a controlled speed and was not able to avoid hitting Sam, thereby violating statute number 56-5-1520. Also, as Tybee Cumberland testified, the roads were wet at the time of the accident. This brings subsection F of the statute into effect, which states that a person must drive at an appropriately reduced speed when approaching a curve or when due to weather. We have clearly met our burden of proof here. A child was hit by a reckless driver. She could have been killed. May it please the court to render justice, and that the verdict delivered today is in favor of my client, Sam Parker. Thank you.
May it please the court, Your Honor, and ladies and gentlemen of the jury. This case is important to my client because she is being asked to pay someone for the irresponsible choices they made, not caring that she was hurt in the process. Sam Parker was delivering pizzas when she had a collision with CJ Calhoun. Sam was rushed to the hospital with small scrapes, while CJ was left cut, bruised, and scared. After learning of Sam's minor concussion, CJ sent her front row tickets to her concert with her sincere regrets of not being able to visit with Sam. Article 27 on lamps and reflectors on bicycles states, "Every bicycle, when in use at nighttime, shall be equipped with a lamp on the front that shall emit a white light visible from a distance of at least 500 feet to the front, and a red reflector on the rear that shall be visible from all distances from 50 feet to 300 feet to the rear, when directly in front of the lawful upper beams of headlamps on a motor vehicle." Witnesses say that Sam very rarely has her halogen light on, and Madison Smith says Sam's reflectors work only if my headlights hit them just right. The reflector tape was not made for wheel spokes, and it had trouble staying on those wheel spokes, even though Sam continued to use it. Witnesses, even on the plaintiff's side, say that Sam is a reckless, unruly, and unpredictable bike rider. Sam has almost run into Mrs. Cumberland herself. She has also almost run into Jordan Rawls' dog, Chiquita, although she never asked for forgiveness. Sam's testimony simply cannot be trusted. She stated that CJ's headlights were not on, whereas CJ clearly said that she saw Sam in the headlights off of the hood of my car. As Tybee Cumberland herself said, "I saw a flash of light. How could this not be headlights?" Sam also never looked or slowed before riding out in front of CJ.
Objection. Improper extrapolation of the stipulated facts. Overruled.
Sam was even riding against the lawful flow of traffic. Sam Parker should not receive compensation for the injuries she inflicted upon herself and for endangering the lives of innocent others. Therefore, I implore the court to choose the side of justice and truth and to deliver the verdict that could change a young girl's life. Not guilty. Thank you.
All right, thank you. The court will be in recess for 10 minutes. I'll invite the jurors to come with me into chambers, and we'll retire and we'll return with our verdict.